updated.
So Brian's doing the pregame show, essentially, for the Super Bowl, and now we're all doing the postgame show to the President's State of the Union address. Not a surprise, the President revealed that he's going to try to get stuff done just with his pen and his phone. In other words, he stood in front of hundreds of people and said, I don't need you. I can do stuff on my own. Here's the President.
I'm eager to work with all of you. But America does not stand still, and neither will I. So wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation to expand opportunity for more American families, that's what I'm going to do. I will issue an executive order requiring federal contractors to pay their federally funded employees a fair wage of at least $10.10 an hour, because if you cook our troops' meals or wash their dishes, you should not have to live in poverty.
You know what's curious about that? And yesterday on the program, we talked about how the president signed an executive order ordering that federal contract workers, the minimum wage would be $10.10.
Yes.
John Boehner said yesterday that that would affect absolutely zero current employees. Maybe in future contracts, but zero today.
Yeah, it sort of took everyone aback when he said it. You know, and another thing, you know, we hear about broken promises. The promise-keeping percentage of the president seems to be low, according to Americans. There's one promise that Paul Ryan was reminding everyone of after he heard the State of the Union. He said, you know, you made a promise. Remember this thing called the Constitution?
When we get sworn into office, whether you're president or in Congress, you raise your hand and you swear an oath to the Constitution. That's going around the Constitution. So when he says these things and does these things, that, in my opinion, is a violation of his oath.
Brian?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's true. The argument that's brought up over and over again, and I have a little bit of an echo if you guys can address that, but George Bush actually had more and Bill Clinton had more, but it's the type of executive orders people are looking at. What I really enjoyed about the whole speech, I thought it was a good balance. They brought up the military, they brought up other things, but the thing that really got to me was the fact that Obamacare came up 40 minutes into this whole thing, at which time he kind of mocked the fact that they haven't got off to a good start. But on top of that, not getting off to a good start, I think it's also important to understand the Republicans came up with their own idea about what should really happen. So on that note, back to you guys.
Well, and the president said it wasn't a massive failure, but it was political war. Here's the president.
I do not expect to convince my Republican friends on the merits of this law. So, again, if you have specific plans to cut costs, cover more people, increase choice, tell America what you do differently. Let's see if the numbers add up. But let's not have another 40-something votes to repeal a law that's already helping millions of Americans like Amanda.
Unfortunately for the president, some of his numbers didn't add up, according to the Washington Post fact checker. Regarding the president last night said more than 9 people signed up for private health insurance or Medicaid, but he was careful not to say whether or not that was the result of the Affordable Care Act, which he tried to leave that impression. 3 million apparently have enrolled, but it was unclear at this point how many have actually paid. And if you haven't paid, you don't have it.
And you may have heard applause right there, but I can guarantee there was one person who wasn't clapping his hands. It was Ted Cruz. He said he didn't get the apology that everyone deserved. Take a listen.
Obamacare is the biggest job killer in the country. And, you know, it was striking Megyn tonight throughout an hour-plus long speech. The president didn't say a single word to the over 5 million Americans who've had their health insurance canceled because of Obamacare. He left them in the cold. If he thinks Americans want action, what they'd like is for the federal government to stop taking away their health insurance, taking away their jobs, forcing them into part-time work. And sadly, he provided no relief whatsoever on those grounds.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Okay, Brian?